It is rare, and I really do think people, when you look at Hurts, it's not so much his physical tools, which he is talented, but his metal. He doesn't rattle. He's competitive. I mean, he's competitive as as anybody. And he's been making a really good judgment playing for such a youngster. And when I talk to people, this rascal was at the prom last year. And now he's leading the number one. I mean, I call this place the Roman Army. He's leading the Roman Army right now. But really, it goes more to judgment. It's not like he's, some kind of alien athletically. And then you got to give credit to Coach Kiffin and this offensive staff. They have wrapped an offense around him, like putting a Ferrari, wrap the metal around him to go and be successful. They don't ask him to do things that are, that oppose what his strengths are right now. Then you got to grow him in the off season and make sure you can do different things. I think it's been a phenomenal run.
A lot of people say, oh, he's the son of a coach. Is that an oversimplification?
No. Coach's sons are incredibly, versed. They just get it. They understand the nuances, the diligence. I mean, especially that's your dad. I was the son of a coach. A lot of quarterbacks that have played. Whose fathers are coaches. You just take the game on a little bit differently. So that can't be overstated.
Does he remind you of anybody on the field that you've seen in the past?
Does Jalen remind me of anybody? Not all these guys have like an exact DNA type. He just reminds me of a young, talented, fairly green youngster who's improving. Week to week. It's not like he's bad at any one thing. He just hasn't been in these situations.
What does Jalen need to do tomorrow to beat Texas A&M?
I think tomorrow, for him to be successful as best he can, whether it's pre-snap or after once he has the ball, mitigate damage. Because those two all-world defensive ends coming in from A&M, I mean, they've been wreaking havoc on seniors and veteran quarterbacks, and you can get yourself in a lot of trouble back there if you don't have a plan every snap. Meaning, where are they? What's my drop? How much time do I have? Where am I protected? You got to mitigate damage, one. And then you got to be able to throw the ball in third and medium and third and long. You're going to have to make some throws and some plays to take pressure off. And he started to do that. If you go back and watch Ole Miss, if you go back and watch the Tennessee film, he's starting to make some throws because not all going to get done by his feet tomorrow. He's going to have to go through the air. I think he will.
Where have you seen him make progress as a passer?
Timing. Understanding where his receivers are going to be. He asked where did I see the most improvement. Accuracy is a lot of things. Just throwing the ball when my guy can catch it, but also understanding where they're coming from. So early on in the season, and I had a chance to study every single snap he's had, he would see a receiver and the window might be this big, and he'd say, that's not big enough. He'd pull it down and run it. Just not comfortable with it. And now he sees the same window with a little bit of pressure and says, if I throw it now, I can make it happen, and he does. So, again, comes with experience. From 4 quarters to 30 quarters, you're incrementally better. So I think that's a big one. Him having that type of faith. And then again, Coach Kiffin timing up the plays, timing up the screens and draws to get the pressure off of him, getting him outside where he can do some things on his own. That's a collective ball right there that they're all kind of working together. I think pretty smartly.
On the opposite side, what is Trevor Knight going to have to do to beat an Alabama defense as strong as this?
Trevor Knight's going to be under an attack the whole game, under a barrage. And I think the toughest part when people play Alabama and they don't realize it, there could just be 4 defensive linemen, a normal team that may not make you move that much. Against Alabama, those 4 guys feel like 6. And, 2 of those guys are going to break free. So he's going to have to keep them out of like third and longs, look to throw the ball away. Where's my check down? Again, a lot like the youngster, mitigate damage. Like both of them are going up against 2 great defensive fronts. And just don't turn the ball over. Don't turn the ball over. I would force, if I'm Trevor Knight, force Hurts, the freshman, to drive his team all the way back down the field. If we leave the ball right here at the 40 and punt, that's actually a good thing. You know, I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to take a chance or a risk or leave something, you know, in harm's way. So that's, but he's got that. I mean, as old as he is, and you know, this is not, obviously he's actually faced Alabama at Oklahoma. And he's actually kind of seen this. I don't know if he's ever been in this building, but he's at least faced this attack. But that's what he's got to do. Just mitigate the damage and don't turn the ball over. I know that sounds simplistic, but once you start, you know, taking some gambles, I mean, they turn interceptions right into touchdowns. Their defense has scored, 10 touchdowns already? So they don't need help scoring, so I wouldn't try to, you know, if I'm him, I'd play it pretty conservative.
If you were Jalen's quarterback coach this summer, what would you work on to improve his game?
If I was working with him this summer, what would I do? Same with any 18, 19-year-old, especially playing at this level. You try to get bolted down, footwork, you know, understanding your drop so you're stronger, you're cleaner, and then your mechanics. You can't get clean enough, repetitive enough, and consistent enough at this level. That's really what you want to be able to do. I want to throw the ball the exact same way, or have the exact same protocol for everything that happens to me. So if you come charging at me, I know what I'm supposed to do. If she comes charging at me, I know what I'm supposed to do. Right now, it's like a dance. He's figuring those sorts of things out, but his passing is going to catch up at some point to his athleticism, and then he's going to be vicious. But right now, he trusts his feet, and he can make some plays throwing the ball, but as he gets older and they get to do more with him, this is going to be a dangerous attack when they start to balance out, because now you force defenses to say, which one do you want to get beat by? And that's, right now, I think defenses probably want to keep them in the pocket, force the youngster to try to throw.
How can Knight's mobility affect Alabama's defensive side?
How can Knight's mobility affect Bama?
Yes.
Oh, by a great deal. Now, if you go back, even Chad Kelly, I was going to say to the exception of Chad Kelly, but the quarterbacks that have beaten Bama in the last, 4, 5, 6 years, have all been guys who they've rushed upfield like a Marty Smith. They've rushed upfield, and Bama's covering the back end, and that quarterback yanks the ball down, and he's gone for 15, 20 yards. You don't have to be a superhero. You don't have to be Cam Newton. You don't have to be Manziel. But if you can steal yards when they're not paying attention, they're not going to spy Trevor Knight, I don't imagine. They're not going to be some elaborate game plan to keep him in any particular place. They're just probably going to play him, just thinking we're athletic enough to do that.